Winter is officially here in North Idaho, and I am so excited. Living up here in winter is just, it's the best. It's like me and Riley against the world. Every day there's a new adventure, a new problem to solve. The challenges of living up here are so worth it for the beauty. I mean, listen to this silence. We've got a bunch of things we would like to get done before there's more snow on the ground, so let's get to it.
Okay, will it start? Last time I tried to start it, it had a dead battery. Oh, I think we have a flat tire too. It's like barely hanging on. Boone, are you drinking water out of the puddle from the melting snow? I'm always afraid I'm gonna get my fingers pinched in the sprocket. What is going on? Oh, duh. There's wheel spacers I need to mount in here. Confused, and I'm wondering if it's possible that I just never noticed in the past. These studs stick out, and that would make it so that the track assembly can't sit flat. Did I just never notice that before? Imprints from where those studs hit it. That probably explains why the tracks on the back were always like, always had to snug them up. I got it started. I had a lot of questions on past videos about how I tighten the set of lug nuts that's behind this flange, since you can't get to them with a socket and extension. And the answer is that I use a crow's foot on the end of an extension with a ratchet so I can get around it like this. Not the most elegant thing, I guess, but it works. 1 down, 3 to go. So if you're wondering about these tracks and the history of them, Courtney and I actually made these tracks our first year up here when we were trying to figure out how we were gonna get up to our home in the wintertime when there wasn't a road. The actual rubber track is from a snowmobile along with some of the bogey wheels. This is a trailer part, and the rest of this stuff I just custom made. While the Jeep's in the shop, I'm gonna fix something else that's been bothering me, which is that the gauges used to work intermittently, like now they don't work at all. Oh.
While Riley works on fixing the dash on the Jeep, I'm gonna work on fixing a different problem, which is that every time we go anywhere in it, my phone goes flying and there's nowhere to put it. So I think I have a solution.
Maybe we just try to unplug it and plug it back in again. No. So I'm sitting here thinking about the sequence of events, and the gauges used to be like hit or miss, and you'd smack the dash and they'd start working again. And then they just quit working entirely. And it happened because this Jeep has been rolled before, so the roof is like caved in a little bit, and that's the low spot right there. So condensation that collects drips into this dome light and eventually shorted the dome light, caught it on fire. I happened to be sitting in the Jeep when it happened, and I caught it and I pulled it out, put the fire out. I bet you the instrument cluster and this are on the same fuse. Okay, pop the hood. Courtney, I bet you I didn't even have to take the dash apart. Oh, this one right here is burnt. If this is the problem, I'm gonna feel so silly. A fresh used fuse. Well, the dome light works now. The gauges work again. That is like classic Riley. Like, I assume the problem is way more severe than it actually is, and I take something really far apart. Courtney, are you coming?
You can't not smile when you're about to ride in the Snowverlander. It's like a little kid RC car, but just like giant adult version.
Oh, look, they took down another big tree, Courtney.
We got sucked into this like life of a beaver documentary on YouTube the other day, and we learned that the beavers don't chew the trees until they fall over. They chew them almost until they fall over, and then they let Mother Nature take them over, and then they take them.
So I've been practicing the same thing with my chainsawing lately, and trees that I want to take down, I'm just cutting them until they almost fall down, and then I'm just leaving them. Are you wearing your snow boots in the house, buddy? What are you up to?
Oliver and I are gonna 3D print a hook to put my snow shovel on so that it stops falling over. That's it, and then we just hit print, and it's gonna take, I think, an hour, and then we'll have a hook.
What's going on out here, guys?
It's raining.
Courtney and I live off grid, and our primary heat source is wood. This right here we split this fall, and this is about 2 years worth of firewood for us.
I've been shoveling snow, but I think that my snow hook is done. That looks so cool. Should we go mount it?
Yeah.
Babe, it's like it was meant for it.
Nice.
Look at that. And then I was thinking the top hook's like a coat hook.
Welcome to winter in North Idaho, where we just have this crazy like freeze-thaw cycle for most of the winter, which makes plowing super challenging. So like you're probably wondering, you know, Riley, why didn't you plow the road so that you wouldn't have all that slush on the road that makes getting in and out of your place so difficult? And well, the answer is because we can't blow it in the snowblower. It just gets in there, it sticks, and it clogs up the snowblower. Two, we can't really use our plow either because until the roadbed is frozen, like the plow will just dig into the gravel and cause more harm to the road than good. But I think I have a solution that's gonna make it so that we can use this plow this winter. First, we need to head to town and get some materials.
I'm a little bit worried about if we're gonna make it back up the hill or not. This is so sloppy and wet.
Got some pipe? Let's go build a plow guard. So last year, a whole bunch of you in the comments commented that if we add a piece of round pipe to the bottom of our blade, then the blade can't dig into the gravel anymore and it'll stop chewing up our road. So we're gonna find out. I think what I've learned about plow dozer blade combos is they're not very good at either one. So it has these shoes that you can adjust up and down, and right now they're in the all the way up position because I was using it as a dozer blade, but the shoes don't seem to help at all in the snow. In fact, I think they just dig into the ground even more than the plow blade. So I'm gonna remove the shoes. And that's the shoe.
I made Riley a gift on the 3D printer this morning, and it's done. So let's see if you can figure out what it is. Open your hand.
Oh, it's a little squeegee for the window.
I found a full-size squeegee like for your shower on Maker World, and then I just shrunk it by 50%. Look at it now. When it steams up inside, you just go like that, and then you're back in business.
Like, it's actually rubbery. You could probably print gaskets with that. If we cut a slot into this pipe so that it can fit up and over the blade that's already on it, then we can just hold it on with a couple tabs that go to where the shoes used to be. First, I was gonna start marking with a Sharpie and using a grinder to cut the slot. And then I had what I think is gonna be a better idea. I'm gonna attempt to use the plasma table. That worked so well. Way faster than using the grinder. Ow, but it is very hot, like it just got plasma cut. Oh, ha, ha. probably should have made sure one fit before I cut all 4 of them. And Courtney just said it's gonna fit. It always fits. Oh yeah, look at us. Which means that we're done with the air compressor, so I'm gonna go turn the air compressor off. The air compressor is out here in the power shed. So we have an air line that runs underground all the way from there to there, which does 3 things. It keeps the noise of the air compressor out of the shop so we don't have to listen to it. It means that the air line runs through the earth where it's cool, which helps the water condense so it dries the air on its way between here and the shop. And then the 3rd thing is that the waste heat off the air compressor helps keep the solar shed warm. So, because the air compressor gets warm when it's in use, right? Like this is pretty hot right now. So all that heat stays here in the solar shed and helps keep the batteries warm in the wintertime. What are you up to, babe?
Cleaning the skid steer.
Cleaning, it smells like Simple Green. Is that how you detail equipment, is Simple Green? Welding gas on. Yeah, the suspense is killing me, Courtney. Like all last winter, I talked about doing this.
It's such a mess out here. I think we've gotten like half an inch of rain today on what, 6 inches of snow. The closest thing I can compare it to is like trying to walk in mashed potatoes.
Final stop, needs fuel. Ugh. And then the pin. This is what switches it from dozer to snowplow mode. Here we go. It can't be worse. It can only be better.
You look official.
I feel official.
Oh?
Courtney, that is so much better.
Heck yeah!
Those rocks, it just bounced up. Before it would have like dug those rocks up out of the ground. Obviously it's not perfect, but it's way better. After a few days of freezing temperatures, today it's warmed up and we have rain. Normally I wouldn't like the rain. I prefer it to be frozen because when it's rainy it's wet. But there's a job I'd like to get done now that it's about freezing again. Oh yeah, look at all this runoff behind the shop. 2 summers ago, I dug a shallow well right here where all this drainage sort of collects in this low point, and this has been our water source ever since. So we haven't had to haul water up here for a year and a half or so now. Down in the bottom of that hole, there's water, and there's a pump with a float, and we pump the water from this shallow well over to a 2,000 gallon buried tank right here behind the shop. And then inside that tank, there's another pump that's a pressure pump that pressurizes the home's water system. I need to get our tank full, and I need to get all these hoses wrapped up and put away so that later this winter, if we need to, we can actually use the hoses. I plug this in, we got a leak in our hose thing. I knew I should have put this thing away a week ago. Let's go find a new hose. Living off grid, there is always something to do. Something to fix, something to change, something to upgrade, something to build. So if you like being busy, I'd recommend living off grid. And there's ice in the hose. So the reason that we can't use this in the wintertime isn't because the water underground freezes, it's because my janky hose setup freezes. Oh, there's quite a bit of water in there right now. There goes. If you can see those bubbles in there, that's ozone, O3. It's super reactive and it's a disinfectant. So that's on the timer and it runs for, I think, 3 hours a day down in the tank to keep the water that's in the tank and to keep the tank from growing algae or bacteria. I'm hoping now that there's gonna be enough in the well to fill the tank. And I won't have to fill it again all winter, but I'll check back with you when the pump shuts off. So last winter I bought a 3D printer and I had a ton of fun using it to make our UTV snowplow contraption remote controlled. Bamboo Lab saw our snowplow video last winter and they actually reached out to us about sponsoring this video. They sent us 3 of their 3D printers to try out and it's been really cool to compare all the features. The first one that you saw Courtney use is their A1. Starting at just $339, the A1 offers exceptional print quality and multicolor printing at a very approachable price. They also have the A1 Mini, which comes pre-assembled and takes up an even smaller footprint. And at only $179, this would make a perfect gift for a creative niece, nephew, or grandchild in your life. Next, you saw Courtney print me this squeegee on the P1S. This model has an enclosure which allows it to print high performance materials like ABS plastic. I also like that the enclosure means that I can leave this thing sitting out in the shop and everything will stay clean. And with their online database Maker World, you don't even have to know how to design things on the computer to start printing parts. You can just search for what you want and someone else has probably already designed it for you. After watching our snowplow video, my dad was inspired to purchase a Bamboo Lab 3D printer and he's used it to print a whole bunch of useful things around his shop. Whether you're shopping for yourself or someone creative in your life, Bamboo Lab offers a complete lineup of 3D printers. To get yours, head to the link in the description below and make sure to tag us in your projects so we can see what you make. Okay, it's been a few hours since I got the well pumping, so let's go see how full the tank is. Looks like we're just a little over 3/4 full. I was hoping for full, but 3/4 is pretty close. So let's see, a little over half to a little over 3/4 is probably like 400 or 500 gallons. Pretty darn good for a hole in the ground behind my house. Conservatively, that should be about 7 weeks worth of waters. Wow, look how much dirt is coming out of this filter housing. Definitely doing something. That's all dirt that did not end up in the tank. All right, I'm gonna get all these hoses and pumps put away in the solar shed where they won't freeze. I think the next steps on this project are gonna be to go underground from the shallow well to the tank so that nothing freezes. Then I wanna put an automatic float switch in the tank that's gonna turn this pump on and off automatically so I don't have to monitor it. And finally, I like to come up with a better way to get more sediment out of it. So if you have any clever sediment filter ideas, drop it in the comments below. I need ideas that don't use electricity and don't waste a lot of water. Today's project is to work on the propane generator. We're at like 84%. This is a 500-gallon propane tank and it is plumbed into our automatic standby generator. Courtney and I live fully off-grid here on this property and all the electricity that we consume here, we also have to make here. We have a 10,000 watt solar array here. We have 4,000 watts over the deck over there, and we have another 2,000 watts on the tiny house. So it is at about 16,000 watts of solar. During the winter time, we have a really short window of time when the sun would even hit these panels if it weren't obscured by clouds, and the low sun angle means that a lot of the sun doesn't even reach through the atmosphere. So this is a 14,000 watt propane generator that our off-grid inverter system that's inside here can automatically turn off and on. Let's see, first I'm gonna get us some more room to work. So this entire solar array is on a tilting assembly, which lets us change the angle depending on the seasons. This boat trailer winch here lets us pretty easily tilt the array either up or down. So yeah, change the oil every 100 hours or annually. So right now we're doing the annual maintenance on it because we haven't hit the 100-hour. How do you change the oil? Ah, there it goes. That's cool. Check this out. There's just a hose to the crankcase and a valve. And why isn't there oil coming out? Maybe I need to undo the filler cap. Why isn't there oil coming out? Admittedly, that's the first time I've actually checked the oil on this machine. So if you've been around the channel, then you know that the first one that we installed ran for like 3 hours and then the engine had a failure within the first 3 hours of running. The shop that I bought it from set up this one, the second one, in their parking lot and invited me down and we ran it there for like, it was like all day long. They had it running out in the parking lot, generating power hooked up to a load bank to test it, to make sure that we were good before we hauled it up here. So they set it all up. They did the first run on it and I brought it up here and I installed it and I hooked it up and this is honestly the first time I've looked at it since because it's worked just fine since then. I don't know, this is all that came out. It's not very much oil. I'm gonna let this keep draining and let's go check out the other generator. So this is our 1980s MEP004 military surplus 3-phase generator, manual. So like I have to manually start it, dial in the frequency and adjust the voltage. So this was our primary source of electricity our first winter and about half of last winter until we got this standby generator up and running correctly. And it's worked so well that we decided to keep it around as a backup to the backup. Look at that, full. Looks clean too. I'm gonna go ahead and get it all opened up and then we'll fire it up. Make sure we don't have any like major fuel leaks or anything. Check the coolant. Nice. Let's open up the control panel. I seriously doubt it's gonna start. I'm pretty much guaranteeing it has dead batteries, but we'll find out. I always forget how to do this. Primer on? Yeah, no, fully dead batteries. What? Oh yeah, I remember. At the end of last winter, I brought them inside the solar shed, I charged them up, and then I decided to just leave them in there. Okay, positive and negative. Are you positive? Negative. Check the fuel. Fuel's empty. I'll go get some fuel. The cool thing about a diesel generator is that we can haul our own diesel fuel up here and we're never dependent on the propane truck. But the downside to a diesel generator is that I have to fuel it, where the propane generator fuels itself because the gas doesn't require any pumping or transferring. There was a click and then nothing. I'm gonna guess these battery cables aren't tight. Let's try again. Every time. This thing runs so well. It's probably 34 degrees out today, so it is just above freezing and it's not even smoking. Now I'm just gonna go around and kind of check for fuel leaks or anything like that, like around the injection pump. For some reason there's no oil pressure. Oliver and Grammy are watching. Hi guys. I think this is the oil pressure sensor. Tests. Sometimes on these military things there's a test for the light. Oh yeah, test or reset. So it says low oil pressure, and then if I start it, I think the gauge just isn't working. I'm gonna have to add that to the list of repairs just to fix the oil pressure gauge, but I'm confident it has oil pressure because it does have that dummy light and that light is working. There you go. So right now we're doing 9,800 watts from the generator and 480 watts of solar. So even on a cloudy day like this, we can generate some solar, but it's not really enough solar, especially to keep us going overnight. After letting the oil drain there for, what, half an hour or so, between that amount of oil and the filter and the oil cooler, I bet it's a quart, which I think probably means that somebody accidentally put 1 quart in instead of 2 quarts. At least that's what I'm hoping. And it does have an oil pressure switch in it. I looked that up. So if the oil pressure gets too low, it theoretically will make the generator stop running. So I doubt there's any damage, but it's still an uneasy feeling. Go. Successful test of the military surplus. Now let's fire up the propane standby, get it up to temperature, check the oil. And we're charging. Okay, let's check the oil. And we are full. I think it's safe to say the generators are ready for winter. I've got a little extra time in my schedule this morning, so I'm gonna surprise Courtney with something I think she's really gonna like. Hopefully she doesn't get too suspicious that I just pulled the skid steer up to the shop. Yes, it has a cup holder, but the mug doesn't fit. So what I'm planning on doing is making an insert that goes in that cup holder and makes us a new cup holder. So it's a little higher up, it's easier to reach, and it holds the mug better. So I want the cup to go in the cup holder about that far. Probably be tapered. Okay, so here's what we came up with. We have a cup holder insert. It is offset to make room for it so the cup doesn't hit the window. So this is gonna sit in the old cup holder, and that's where the new cup's gonna go. I've never done this before, but I think I can enable support, and it's gonna automatically print a piece that it can then print on top of, and that piece will break off.
Good morning, guys. I think we woke up to maybe 2 inches of fresh snow last night, but the sun's trying to come out. It's a beautiful day. I think we're gonna take this as an opportunity to go check out our snowshoe trail. I think there's a few downed trees that we need to take care of.
Well, you know what, Courtney? I'm gonna grab gloves.
Yeah, could you grab me gloves too, please?
Yeah.
Whew. You're a little bit heavier than last year, Oliver. Wow. What a beautiful day. Our property's been logged quite a few times before we bought it. They call them skidder roads, but there's all these trails left over from logging that are the width of not quite a vehicle, and they make awesome snowshoeing trails in the winter. The other really cool thing about these trails is that the animals love them. So there's usually some pretty cool deer signs, and cougars, and bears, and porcupines. Whoa, that's a pretty big tree.
It broke off probably in that windstorm. That one broke too.
I think this might be probably our last walk without snowshoes of the year.
I hope so. I'm hoping to get buried this winter.
Careful what you ask for. Took a stick to the eye, but other than that, that was a pretty successful walk, and our snowshoe trail is clear. Now we just need more snow so we can actually use our snowshoes.
All right, the print is done. Let's check it out. Wow, that worked. You can see this is that undercut feature I was talking about, where it can't print in midair, but by adding that, it gave it a platform to be able to print the rest of this part on top of. Oh my gosh, that is perfect. Does our insert fit? Oh, that's perfect. Yes, it clears. Uh-oh, I was right, Oliver. I didn't buy a long enough bolt. Well, I think this surprise is gonna have to wait for Courtney for another day. Next up on the things I should have done before winter, but I'm doing now project list, are to finish insulating the tiny house. Over the spring and early summer, we built this tiny house out of a 20-foot shipping container. The entire thing is spray foam insulated inside, except that we did not spray foam the doors. I always plan on coming back and adding sheet foam insulation later. So later is now. All right, bud. Coming through, this foam has big important things to do. We put the track down first. We line it up on our mark. What in the world? Why did all of the styrofoam come out of the vacuum? Courtney, I think it's time for a new filter in this thing. Lined up there. Oh, I better put the writing the right way up. Oh my gosh, I just set the alarm off in the truck. Sorry, Courtney. So the doors have a piece of square tubing that runs on the inside and the outside frame of the door. So when I drill right there, it doesn't penetrate the outside of the container. All right, doors are insulated. So the idea now is that the waste heat off the water heater, like I can feel that it's warm on the outside, is gonna heat this space up to keep the batteries and the plumbing from freezing. Okay, Courtney, what's next? Ah! No, it's not even trying. No spark. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh no, there's dog poo in your slipper.
What? No!
You got dog poo in your, those are your inside slippers too.
I got dog poo on my slipper, Oliver.
Riley and Courtney went down the road taking a drive with Boone and go, 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 we gotta get up. Thank you. All right, plug is out. I like just replaced the spark plug, so it's not the spark plug. And here's the problem. that it's just a super weak and intermittent spark. You see how it like sparks 3 times and then stops? I'm fairly sure it's something called like the CDI or CPI or something like that module. It's in place of a magneto, it's what makes the spark. They're known to go bad on these things, so I'm gonna try swapping that out. By the way, a little backstory on this ATV. My dad bought this ATV brand new in 1991, the year before I was born. And then like 10 years or so ago, he gifted it to me for Christmas. So thanks, Dad, for the quad. And also it's just super cool to have like a piece of family history around here, and I'd love to get it running again. I have never had this off before. It looks really funny like this though. New module. I bought an OEM Honda one. I've learned my lesson on that with this thing. Okay, do we have better spark? Courtney, I think I fixed it. I mean, it's getting a much more consistent spark. Oh. Yes. I think the real test will be tomorrow if it still starts, but for now I'm saying I fixed it. And that feels pretty good. I've been fighting that problem for like 4 years, I think.
All right, Riley has been telling me all about how he fixed the four-wheeler. So Oliver and I are gonna take it for a spin and go check the game cameras. Is it gonna start? Oh, Oliver, it started! No. Did you guys hear that? It started first crank. Bye, we'll be back. Welcome to the abandoned cabin. Unfortunately, this cabin's beyond saving. The mold, the rats, just it's too far gone. We actually are in the process of knocking it down, and we promised you guys last year that we were going to use our bulldozer to knock it down, and then the bulldozer broke. But Riley's working on plan B for that. Stay tuned. Gonna check the camera? Well, I got the memory card, and we're going to take it back to the shop and see what we caught. What do you think, Oliver? Did we see any bears? Bah! That's it for this video. If you guys like this video and you want to see more content like this, including more winter content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.